And now for more, we welcome for reaction and insight Gil Hoffman, Executive Director at Honest Reporting and the former Chief Political Correspondent at the Jerusalem Post. He joins us now from Jerusalem. Gil, thank you so much for your time. An important story, a controversial story. This isn't the first time, of course, the IDF has targeted the Al Jazeera news offices. Last time was in Jerusalem in May, now in Ramallah. In both cases saying national security was at risk. Your take, is this the right move right now?
Well, Israel has freedom of speech, Benita, that we're very proud of, but there's not freedom to incite to terror. And as the report said accurately, Al Jazeera has been part of Hamas throughout this war. There were journalists from Al Jazeera who were Hamas commanders. They mistreated a mother of a hostage who they put on TV together with a Hamas commander and made her try to debate him. You've had this Al Jazeera has been banned in Egypt, in Saudi Arabia, in the United Arab Emirates, in Bahrain. And so it's not as controversial as they're making it seem around the world. It's perfectly understandable that temporarily during a war, this organization that has been helping Hamas so intensively would not be permitted to continue to do so.
But is it clear abroad that that is the connection? As you say, the Israeli Communication Minister Shlomo Karhi saying Al Jazeera is the mouthpiece of Hamas and Hezbollah. You're outlining some of the examples. But that doesn't seem to be the way many abroad look at it. They would argue it's not a very good look in terms of the freedom of the media.
You're right. It definitely doesn't look good around the world, that they don't understand that Al Jazeera has been banned in countries around the world. They don't understand that the danger that Al Jazeera poses. They're viewed by 450 million people. I wish that on I24. Okay? And when they're broadcasting false charges that the IDF soldiers went to Shifa Hospital and raped women, something that a former Al Jazeera official then later had to apologize for, then that causes even more damage around the world. And that's something that those who want Israel to look good around the world need to understand, that you're damned if you do, damned if you don't, and that Israel made a controversial decision that in the long run was better than the alternative.
Certainly that misinformation as well is so dangerous at times like this. What do you make, though, of those criticizing the fact that the raid happened this morning in Ramallah in the West Bank? It raises some tricky questions in terms of location.
Absolutely, it does. Ramallah is very much part of the Palestinian Authority. This was definitely a controversial move. Al Jazeera has been banned in Israel, not banned by the Palestinian Authority. But yes, there's a war going on. And just like Israel has been going into Palestinian territories in order to take action against terror, it did this step as well. It's surprising. It's bold. And the IDF deemed it necessary. It's not a political decision. It's a military one. And it's something that the world needs to understand.
Hamas, of course, condemning the move. Of course, when a terror organization behind a massacre and mass abduction is upset, one has to ask a lot of questions. But this closure order is for 45 days. So what happens then?
They're back operating like they did before. Their office in Jerusalem, both in their East Jerusalem office and in their Malcha Technological Park West Jerusalem office, right by the government press office that banned them, will continue working again. This is a temporary move that they've made. And let's not forget, the Palestinian Authority, they're not upset about this, because the Palestinian Authority has been targeted by Al Jazeera for many, many years. They had this whole expose that tried to bring down the Palestinian Authority several years ago. The Al Jazeera helps Hamas. And just like Hamas wants to end Israel, Hamas wants to end the Palestinian Authority. Hamas and Al Jazeera go hand in hand. And so this does not help the Palestinians, that Al Jazeera is still so powerful around the world. And that's something else that I wish people understood better.
And Gil, you alluded to it a little earlier. More broadly speaking, there's this blurring of lines, rather a disturbing one, when it comes to reporters. Still questions remaining around reporters who somehow managed to be at those breach security fences on the 7th of October as the Hamas terror rampage started. Startling indeed, not to mention questions around Israeli hostages being held in the home of a reporter. Much to investigate. How does an organization like yours deal with this 1 year into this war and no end in sight?
So on November 8th, Honest Reporting started asking questions about how the photographers in particular got to be at the site of the kidnappings, infiltrating into Israel so early, questioned whether they were tipped off by Hamas. And then slowly but surely, we found out about one journalist who was kissed by Yahya Sinwar in a picture, another one who received an award from Hamas that we revealed today, who on October 7th was there in Sderot, broadcasting on Instagram Live, telling people they've got to come in and be involved in kidnapping the men, doing what they want to do with the women, and killing the dogs. And we're continuing to expose at honestreporting.com every day different incidents like this of journalists who have crossed lines and helped the terrorists, who are working for top mainstream media outlets around the world, be it the New York Times, AP, Reuters, CNN. 12 journalists have been fired over the last 2 years who've been supporters of Hamas very openly or praised Hitler. And we're going to continue to be that media watchdog and not let them get away with it.
We certainly will be watching to see the outcome of all those investigations you've just outlined there. Gil Hoffman, the Executive Director at Honest Reporting, live from Jerusalem. Thank you so much for being with us on The Rundown.
Sure.